You're listening to Bold Hearts, Big Moves, the show for female entrepreneurs who want it all: a thriving business, deep self love, and fulfilling relationships. I'm Erin Anderson, and each week we will dive into how to set stronger boundaries, make empowered choices, and show up in life and business with boldness, authenticity, and heart. Because let's be real, the money you make is directly related to the love that you have for yourself and the strength of your relationships. So if you're ready to lead with love and make those big moves with those bold hearts, let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Bold Hearts, Big Moves. With us today we have Gizela Rodriguez, and I want to make sure I have that right because this is different from the Spanish version because she's Portuguese. And you're going to hear that in her adorable accent today because I love this lady. You'll notice her if you go online and you look up Gizela Infinite Love. That is her. But today, like, we're going to have a really awesome conversation because Gisela has a beautiful soul, a beautiful spirit where she talks about being aligned with the universe and becoming your very best highest self. And these are things that I talk about too, but sometimes we don't always agree with each other on everything. But yet love still abounds. And I got thinking about this and I'm like, "Oh my goodness. Like, here's a podcast topic that we definitely should talk about because how many times as a female entrepreneur do we stand in places where someone is disagreeing with us, where it be somebody that we love, a client, well, we love our clients too, right? But like the people that are around us, we have so many different relationships, and not all of them are always going to say the same thing. So how do we stand in love with these people in and stay true to ourselves at the same time? And so this is what our topic is today. So Gisela, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, welcome for having me. Our last conversation was amazing. I super enjoyed it. It was really good to connect. And this topic is, um, I think it's super relevant because if
Yeah.
you look at the world the way things are, and you see more and more water is getting apart and separation, and I'm right, so then you're wrong. That
Yeah.
kind of duality, I think it's super relevant. And I would say that the first thing is exactly about separation. When we have someone that challenges us with a different point of view. Well, one thing is if it's absolutely something even criminal or not ethic
Hmm.
wise, leave it like that. But other, like, let's current life, day to day things, family, partners, business. Um, the first thing that I would like to say it's about precisely separation. Because when someone shows up with a different point of view or a different perspective, and that triggers us, that means that's a level of separation within ourselves.
Hmm.
So that trigger is showing us something. We do not need to agree. but we do not need to go against.
Exactly. You know, I was, as you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind actually wasn't separation. So I think it's so cool that you're saying that, but it was like curiosity, right? Because I feel like, you know, as I've explored love and this idea of love, a couple of things I have learned is when somebody gets curious, about themselves and like you're saying, like, ooh, there's a tender spot there. Something happened. Like, what is that? Right? Like, what's going on there? If we have that ability to get curious with ourselves first, we can also turn around and get that curiosity for someone else. And so, I talk about like the listening boundary and asking yourself, is this true? Is this not true? Do I need more information? Right? I think this is kind of what you and I are talking about right now, and in that level of separation to like just hold on a second. Let me take a step back for a minute and actually look at this great big picture here. I'm feeling something, and it does not feel super comfortable, doesn't feel great, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that we need a little bit of curiosity here to see what is really underneath this. You know what I mean? And I think, and to me, that's kind of like that separation. But what about you? Like separation in what way?
I get what you're saying, and separation, the way I'm referring is that part of ourselves, whatever is the subject that triggers us in a rational or subconscious level. And of course, asking questions and curiosity is important. It's
Mm,
basically base of being self-aware, right? And
mm,
wanting to evolve. But the first step is to recognize it, because plenty of times with me, I need to be honest. I'm really the way I'm showing up here doesn't happen so frequently, but sometimes still we go through things through life and we go through them. We don't
mm,
actually are as present as we need to. So we don't even recognize that. So, oh, no, we take it lightly. So when you stop a little bit to think, okay, this is making me go into contrast, because separation is contrast,
mm,
and eventually wanting to discharge these, like, no, right away without giving a second thought, or like zooming out, having more perspective, and then, okay, makes sense, or okay, still doesn't. But if it triggered the emotional level, that means something that you need to address inside you,
yeah,
not on
yes.
the outside. The outside just popped up showing, hey, there's these that maybe you want to see with a deeper lens, right? So separation in that sense, recognizing it and then taking action, whatever is that action means. Like if you sit a little bit, if you let it for the weekend when you have more time, and then you,
Yeah.
okay, what's this meaning? What is this doing? Did it show up before? How many times? Is it a pattern? Is it something that is recurrent? Like, so that takes the willing of being present and doing the
Mhm.
work,
You know,
right?
I
Sometimes we are in the automatic pilot and we are thirsty, we grab the water, we drink, we put it down. You don't even realize that you had water
yes,
in your automatic
the
pilot.
automaticity, yes, yes, yes.
Also, it's
It's
separate.
stopping for a minute and actually taking a
Yes,
look at
yes.
everything. And I think I love
And
this because
of course, it's different. Sometimes you need to do it right away.
yeah,
Can hold on. I'll adjust these with more time because I can't now, or it requires more time. I want to do
yes.
it.
and
Yeah.
you want to give it the proper attention. And this is
Yeah.
what I think is amazing about this is one of the highest forms of love you can give to yourself, in my opinion, right? Because here's the thing, like if you think about someone who just goes along and they're like, nope, I'm doing everything right, and they never give themselves time to like self-reflect and to get into that perception, and they keep batting away their emotions because that's too uncomfortable and things. What we tend to see is someone who is not authentic to themselves, right? I actually talk about this sometimes when, like, my clients are dealing with like a narcissistic partner or somewhere in their life where there's that narcissism happening. I explain it to them. I'm like, well, you know, if narcissism really is the thing that is happening, what's happening there is they're not giving themselves this benefit, right? They're not giving themselves the ability to self-reflect. They're not giving themselves the ability to step back and say, okay, what is aligned with me? What isn't aligned with me? And how am I showing up? Like getting that curiosity and giving themselves a chance to separate for a minute. And instead, they have to pile all of this discomfort and all of the justice and all of the negativity onto someone else so they don't have to deal with it, right? But the truth of the matter is someone who truly does love themselves, they want to see the very best version of themselves and know they're living it, right? And we truly do that by this very thing, like giving ourselves some time to to basically separate ourselves from the world, separate ourselves from the situation, and give ourselves some time to reflect. I just had a very uncomfortable conversation with my husband actually just a couple of days ago, and oh my gosh, there is a man that I adore, but man, there's a man also that can really, really trigger me and push my buttons in no way, right? Um, and to be completely honest, both of us went to bed that night angry at the other person because we were both feeling so incredibly triggered, right? But after stepping back for a minute and like really giving ourselves this time, this ability to separate, get curious, like what really happened and what was my part in that? Like what is my part in this place, right? It gave me some clarity for sure. It did my husband too, but I have no control over him. I can't make him do things. I can't make him change. I can't make him do anything. He's responsible for that. But for me, that's just that separation, that stepping back. It gave me an opportunity to say, oh, you know what I need to do here? Like, I'm feeling triggered because of XYZ. I need to check my motives here. I need to check my, uh, I want to say intuition. It's not intuition. Intention. That's what I was going for. I need to check my intention here and see what was I really thinking, and is any of this struggle that, like, there were certain words that triggered me, right? Why did those words trigger me? Was there anything in my intention that, well, I'll just say was controlling, was manipulative, uh was wrong, right? And as I got
Oh,
thinking of, or yeah, yeah, I know, I know. I can see you're like, oh,
okay.
I got some stuff to
So
say here.
we're talking about two different types of separation. The one that I was referring to is separation within ourselves. It's fragmentation within ourselves. And when things happen and trigger us, that's exactly what is happening. It's showing up some aspect of us that is not as united,
Mm,
blended with our essence as we may have thought or not even. What you verbalize about separation is that zoom out,
Mhm.
take a few moments or lots of moments,
It was a lot of
and
moments.
think about it. Question, really zoom out, have a bigger perspective, because when you're like super focused, you lose perspective.
You do.
So, and in the core of the blah 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 arguing, you lose perspective because
It's
it's
so
the
focused
core
in.
of the, and it's your rational system, it's your emotional triggers, all are very narrow
Yeah.
based at that moment. So, um, and of course, we don't change anyone, we change only ourselves if and
Exactly.
when we want to. And sometimes for that, we also need help, more
Mm,
traditional help or more alternative help, whatever help. What works, works, and it's important. Um, but one thing that I also would bring to this conversation is the ability to be neutral.
mm,
And honestly, I don't think that people even consider that. Neutrality in the core of an arguing, like what you just said, between a
right.
couple, between
Right.
partners, business, between, I would say it's super good. Like, did I stop loving you to offend you? No, I'm just being a less empowered human being. So let's step to both of us to like a field of neutrality. Whatever you're saying resonates with you, maybe not with me. And maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you're missing something. So let's
Hmm.
just breathe. Let's just like reset. Why are we both here? A couple or partners in business? Why are we both here? Like, what do we want? We both want. It's something in that perspective that is bigger than probably the arguing. And so being able to be neutral, it's, I would say, more and more required these days because we are overloaded with information, we are overloaded with stimulus, social media, all of our lives, phones, communication that overloads us with inputs. And inputs mean energy, and energy mean that sometimes we are more empowered, sometimes we are not as much. And going to those kind of situations, relationships, family, partner, business, clients, whatever, even the man that serves you the coffee or the woman that serves you the coffee that day is not in the better mood. It may not be gentle to you. It may trigger something. That's also a relationship. And always, always, always is the relationship within ourselves, right? So if you are able to, okay, I don't need to argue. I don't need to shout. I don't need to say this or that. Let's just, this is telling me something. And that's something I need to consider or I want to consider because it may lead me to a different perspective. It may open my field, my vision, or not. And if not, I will say it, I will verbalize it. My energy, my body language that speaks so much more than our words, right, will be different. And I will be more able to listen to the other,
Mm,
more able to say yes with a soft voice and no with a soft voice still.
mhm.
Because let's speak social media these days.
Oh, that's
You
kind
go
of crazy.
and you see people talking, whoo, and
Yeah, yeah, they're all over
yeah,
the place.
and I sometimes I get dizzy. I just like, don't do that, please. Yeah,
I
I honestly
I'm
I
with
say that.
yeah,
I honestly say that, don't do that. I get dizzy because
there's just
supposedly
so much.
someone said if you get on gestures with your hands and keep going, or you go around walking, like people will pay more attention. They don't get mine. Honestly, I get dizzy. It's like, whew,
I hear you.
like, do you behave like that in your house? Because if you don't, why hear that you're wanting to pass a message?
Well,
And I'm talking about regular stuff like coaches or business or regular stuff, not weird stuff that is out there. And sometimes people are shouting. I was like, sometimes I'm like this again. And sometimes
yes.
I'm, honey, why are you yelling at me? I can talk with the thing. And then
Right?
I'll go. you know,
Right?
yes.
Yes.
And I must do a parenthesis here. So, my
No,
first language, my first language is Portuguese.
right.
And lots of American friends and clients and in other parts of the world. So we are very passionate in the way we talk. And
Yes.
I'm passionate in the way I talk. So my hands also move as to do with my work as well. But I'm passionate. And sometimes my friends say, like, why are you yelling? And I say, no, honey, I'm not yelling. I'm being Portuguese. We talk with our hearts, we talk with our brains, we talk. And
We
so
talk with an
I want to,
energy.
yes,
Yes.
and that is, and also I was about to say that, and I work with energy. I'm an energy,
Hmm.
so I also move energy when I'm moving my arms, but not in the sense of the social media that I was saying. And I can be like quiet and still with another type of voice, like depending on the mood of the conversation or the topic, you know. So, but I wanted to say that as well because there are cultural aspects in it,
Yes.
but they were not what I was addressing about. If you do more gestures or if you talk louder, people will listen. That I think plenty of people just shut down.
Yes. You know, I
Regular
actually,
conversation, you start to speak louder so that you cover whatever the other has to say, people just shut down.
yeah, they do. And the
Or
reason,
or if they are
yeah,
in the level, it rises and then the neighbor will knock like there's an
you
argument.
know,
Oh, please.
yeah, like I totally get what you're saying. And, you know, and a lot of the reason why is because we don't just communicate with our words, right? We communicate with our actions and our energy. And so, you know, people actually do know this. Like they don't think about it, I think. But they do know this, and this is why, like, if somebody's talking and they've got their hands all over the place, or they're talking really passionately, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, why are you shouting at me?" To us, we're thinking, "Well, I'm just really passionate about this, right?" But we do have to be very careful in the way that we do show up also our in our passions and in our purposes and things like that too, because basically communication is a type of an experience, right? It's an experience that we want to give to the people that we love. Like my husband, what kind of experience do I want him to have while he's in my presence? What kind of experience do I want my kids to have? What kind of experience do I want my clients to have? What kind of an experience do I want to have, right? And it's all about a type of an experience, and we need to communicate that type of an experience. And I think this is where we get into the whole part of disagreement, right? Because we're having a disagreeing experience, right? So to give a little bit of context, like I do not personally agree with the idea of transgenderism, right? Like it's just not something I agree with. Can I still love that person though? Yes, right? And the reason being is even though I don't agree with this thing and I'm not going to affirm that to them, there's still a person behind that. They still have had experiences behind that. Their experiences have led them down a different path than the path that I am on, right? And I think that what we're both trying to say here is that we can still honor another person for their experiences, what they've been through, right? Because it's like you were saying, we pick up water, we drink it, and we don't really even think about it, right? Whereas that person maybe hasn't had water for several months, and they finally get it, and they're like, oh, finally, right? Two completely different experiences.
So I often say, especially to my clients and my groups, that there is only two things. Either is love or fear. Most people
It's
think
true.
the opposite of love is hate. I advocate that is fear.
I
So
agree.
either is love or is fear. And so fear is contraction and is that separation that I was talking about,
Hmm.
that fragmentation.
And the fear
And
inside of ourselves.
love is unity, it's acceptance.
Hmm.
So, okay, you like blue, I like the rainbow. And I do like the rainbow,
I
all the
love
colors.
rainbows. I love
And
rainbows.
no sexual connection.
Agreed.
No,
Agreed.
okay?
I
I'm like
agree.
a child. I would see a rainbow and I would dance and make a party. I see a rainbow today. Hee ha. Best thing of the day. I celebrate it.
Hmm.
So, but because you just like or you prefer blue and I prefer all these other colors, doesn't mean that we need to be in confrontation.
Hmm.
Because again, confrontation slides to the fear aspect.
Agreed.
Are we always able to do, okay, stay? No, that's the learning journey here. And the more you are aware of it, the more able you are to polish yourself or to reach out for help. Because it, making it very simple, fear is what causes diseases. Fear is what causes wars. Fears is what causes everything that we say we don't want. But then on our day-to-day lives, in our, let's call it tiny universe, we don't make a difference
Yeah.
because we often choose it instead of, okay,
Because we're not,
I'm able to do better than I did yesterday, so let's
yes.
choose
You know,
this.
y you make such an interesting point here because I think about this in my own pathway to wealth, right? And that's still I'm still building that. I'm still growing that. But I remember being so incredibly afraid of not having enough. And you think about that, like that's something that I think we can really connect to here with what you're saying, because I feel like that's something
That, sorry to interrupt you. That's also a relationship. It's a
it is.
relationship.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yes.
I would say that is one of the most relevant, uh, other than people, relationships that we must nurture.
Yes.
Because plenty of us were taught that either money is dirty or people that have more money did something wrong, or I'm saying more to our part of the world, Europe, America, either culture or religious or whatever. Having money, you need to work hard and do sacrifices. So all these connections that are on the fear side,
Yep.
related to abundance, to being worthy, because bottom line, it's about being worthy.
Hmm.
And so it's again on the fear side instead of, okay, there's abundance for everyone.
Yes.
Don't know, most of us don't know how, but just be open to the fact that there is. And the more you are open, the more you're getting the electrical and magnetic signal to things showing up in your life,
Hmm.
and to solve all the, I would say, transgenerational aspects, traumatic aspects, karmic aspects, whatever you
Hmm.
want to call it, you know. So, yes, that is also a relationship.
It is. You're absolutely right. And I've explained that. Like, every single dollar that we've ever earned comes from some type of relationship. And every single dollar we've sent out. goes to some type of relationship, right? And it's so true. And if you think about like money and there's a fear of that money, there's also somewhere a distrust in key important relationships, whether that be with clients, whether that be with family, with, most likely with self, right? There's definitely a lot of that happening. And what's amazing is, when we understand that we're acting in fear, we can then look and say, okay, well, what does it look like to act in faith, love? One of the things I say too is like faith and fear cannot exist in the same hemisphere. They just don't. They repel each other. And so if we're wanting this abundance in relationships, love, money, because it's really, really all the same thing. Like once you step into that one place, that abundance mentality, you do have the abundance of relationships. You do have the abundance of the wealth and the love and all of the things that we say that we want. It's just stepping into it. But it's also, in a sense, leaving fear behind. And you've got to take a look at this places of you that are separated from themselves, right? Because, like, if you go back to me, when when the words of manipulative and controlling came up, I was like, oh, you know, that created a reaction in me because I'm like, that is like the last thing I want to be to anyone, right? And so when that came up, it triggered that part of me, right? And that fear that, oh man, my gosh, maybe I am. But instead of getting curious, I got angry and it landed on my husband, right? And instead of him getting curious, he got angry and it landed back on me. And so we were in this really nasty cycle there for a little bit. And it took us having to like put on the brakes, separate, go to bed mad for a little bit. And then the next day, I was able to sit back and go, okay, what just happened? Right? And look at that fractured piece of me, right?
And what you found when you look at it?
Well, truth be known, was I trying to be manipulative and controlling in that moment? Not at all. I was just trying to be honest, right? But have I had times in the past where I have had a little bit, just even a sliver of an intention to be manipulative and controlling? Yes. And so he was seeing a past version of myself, and I showed up as the past version of self because that past version of myself was still wounded and it hasn't been healed enough to show up differently, right? Can I say that I wasn't acting out of manipulation and control? Absolutely. But I haven't forgiven the past person that did,
Well,
that past version of me.
I would put it, if you allow me, in a different way. That is, maybe the past version was, let's put it a number randomly. Okay, 50%, add 50% of that, and the present person, the present version is just 5% of it. Because if you were embodying the past version of you, that means that the past version of you is the present version of you. So that's why when you close your eyes and you think of something that you live, that, oh, I can be there, I can feel the breeze, it was so good, or it was so bad. Why? Because you're bringing it and you're making it happen again. And that's how trauma reinforces itself.
Hmm.
So I would prefer now the present me, it's just 5%. Before it was 50. And I don't know, I don't want the before to be present again. So, okay, it's cool. I'm good with this. I evolved because bottom line, we're we're in an evolution constantly. So there's no perfection. The perfection is by breathing, being, and be aware that, okay, I evolved. Now I can do a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go? How can I do it? Do I need help? Is it a book? Is it a person? Is it going for a walk? Because we have codes and different codes for different things.
Yep.
And
Yes.
so that that being able to be balanced, but balance is not being perfect. It's just that, not going like fear, or not going like flowers and rainbows uh, and I'm floating. No, honey, you're not. You're still with your feet on the ground. So come back. So
Oh,
you,
yes.
you, your
Yes.
balance. Balance means like the boat. The boat is not. It goes like you know
It's
with the
constantly going rocking back and forth. But you know what is amazing?
like so that balance, and that sometimes we say we have a better day. The day did nothing to us. We just showed up in a better mood.
Better way.
Yeah,
Yep.
or
Yep.
good.
And you know,
And but we put it on the other side. This day was good. Like today. So it's about, again, being present and being aware.
it
And being
is.
aware that there is no such a thing. And this comes from a perfectionist. I'm so much better. My perfectionist is 50 and now is 5. I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
Yes.
Because even there's no perfection. We can look at a statue or a painting or a landscape. Oh, it's perfect. And it is perfect. And I'm saying there's no perfection. And then I'm saying, yeah, it is perfect. There is no contradiction. That landscape, that statue made us feel as in a perfect moment.
Mm-hmm.
But the perfect moment, we met someone, we fell in love. Oh, this love is so perfect. But that's a collection of moments that you consider perfect that makes your life easier or not as much, right? So if you are more balanced and assume that, okay, there's no need to be perfect, there's just the need to be present and uh, have this perspective. Was I at my best or not? Uh, then things get easier. Partner, business, relationship with money, relationship with your body, because disease is also the same thing,
Yep. That's true.
right?
It
So,
is. And I love what you're saying. Perfection, I always say that sometimes we don't define words very well, right? Coming from a Christian perspective, that perfection is something that is so ingrained into us, but I don't think that God ever ever meant for us to never make mistakes. If he did, what's the point of a savior? What's the point of coming back? What's the point of this life if we're meant to do it without any mistakes, right? I think perfection is a journey that, we're talking about becoming the next version of ourselves, the next best version of ourselves, right? Because, you're talking about like yesterday I was at 50%, today I'm at 5%, right? And but in 10 years, we might look back at the today version of ourselves, you know, and be like, whew, that was actually more like the 50%. Today I'm at the 5. And the thing is, we're going to constantly evolve. We're going to constantly change. And and I think to wrap this up, when we step back for just a minute and we recognize that everybody is on a journey, it might not look like our journey. We might not agree with their journey, right? Like I said, I'm Christian. I believe in God. I love God. I don't agree with people who are transgender. That's just an example, right? But the places we can agree and is where we want to focus on, I think sometimes, and just the simple fact that we can love people even though they feel a little bit like hugging a cactus, right? Like it's not about, and this is one thing that I've come to understand in my difficult relationships. It's not about what they are willing to accept. It's about us being present with ourselves and just knowing that we are doing the best version or that we're trying our best to love that person, but they don't always have to accept it, you know? But I know for me, just feeling love towards difficult people in my life, that makes me love myself way more. And I think that is the piece that we want to be to.
Okay, I don't think we have the same perspective here. I think people in our lives show up to trigger us
Oh yeah.
positively or negatively. Let's go to the negatively. And so with that negative trigger, let's call it like that for the sake of this conversation, then we, okay, zoom out, get perspective. Am I at my best? Should I incorporate something? Is it because sometimes it's really the need of professional help
Yeah,
because
sometimes we do.
there are limiting beliefs, there are patterns, there are traumas that we don't even know. That image of the below the ocean and above the ocean, the oh geez, I
Is it
forgot
is it
the
Christ?
no, the ice, the
Oh, the iceberg?
yes, the iceberg,
Yes. Yes.
like just a little bit is above the
What
ocean
we
and
can see, but
the
it's way
rational part
bigger under.
10 times more is under. It's
Hmm.
what we don't know because we don't know. We are humans.
Hmm.
So sometimes the triggers, you can address them by yourself and evolve whatever you need to evolve. Plenty of times with this way of living that we have that is disconnected, um, we need professional help to have a perspective and a balance and gives us more of who we are. Where I think God is within us.
Hmm.
So God is part of us. We are part of God. And so
Yes, that's true.
it's not that I need a God to evolve. I don't. I don't think anyone needs a God to evolve. Be the best you and trust that you are part of everything. And so either then you choose to fear or love in your path and make it easier for you and others or make it difficult for you and others. And that's a choice. And again, depending on the level of your awareness, that is a more rational choice or a more unrational subconscious choice because that's that out there as well. And on the other side is also we never know the backpack of the other person.
Nope, we don't.
We never know the stones, how big, how we don't know. So we don't know ours like the iceberg. That is me. And just this little bit
Little
is
tiny bit is
above the
all we
water.
see. Yep.
And all is below. So if I don't know everything, about my, not even F about what is my field of energy, because that's what it is. How come who am I to judge the other? So if we put that lens of, I don't know your backpack because I don't know, maybe you can be more kind,
Hmm.
not necessarily agreeing, but kind in the terms that you show up, how you voice whatever you think, your emotions,
Hmm.
because how you voice it, how your body language is playing out, how you think, how your emotions are triggered, all that, it's like compounds and builds up your energy. And so, and it's not about having that fake smile and inside,
Yep,
you're,
I
you're
agree.
just you're just using a mask because your energy says something different, and energy never lies.
No, it doesn't.
So you may have the
The
best and
smile.
so you are in the fear zone. You are in the war zone, despite the no.
Yep,
I'm I'm
yes,
the Madonna with
yes.
a big smile, but
I
that's
get
all fake.
Yeah,
So
I get what you're saying. And and I'll say this, I think we're kind of ending on a very good note here. But I do believe that God is in us and that we are in him, that we are very connected. But I also do believe that we need him and that there is a separate God, that it's not just in us, right? And I think this is a beautiful way to end this, is like, but at the same time, getting to a place like with what you're saying, you know, with the energy and learning how to love ourselves and these fractured pieces of ourselves, really helps us in those places where we disagree. And, when we're in the disagreements, finding pieces of us that are that helps us find those pieces of us that are fractured, that we can just stop and love, you know, and that helps us actually, I think, understand other people from a very, very whole place. So anyway, Giselle, thank you so
I
much.
let me just say something. When people triggers in a positive way, I also think we should acknowledge that more, because that
Yes, I agree
body
with that.
of that positive kind of feedback that someone is showing up and raising within us. Okay, oh, that is self-empowering,
It
and that
is.
is also self-love.
I love it.
So again, that balance. Okay, I have my eyes open to this positive trigger that builds up good chemistry, because it's like that. As much as I am aware of this negative trigger, the trigger is not negative or positive. We are the ones placing the negative and the positive, of course. And this negative one is telling me, okay, some more work to do. Let's do it. Choose when and how, but let's do it. Yes.
I love it. We do have to, I do have to go because I'm 10 minutes past my next. Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to wrap up.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I do want to thank you so much for being here with us, Giselle, uh, and for being part of our show today, and being able to take a look at differences and differences of opinion, differences of place, but also I love that you and I even come from a different perspective, and yet we can sit here and still love each other completely. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that you and I have both done a lot of inner work, right? And when you've done that kind of work, you can sit across from somebody that has differences and has different perspectives from you and still see the beautiful human that's there. So
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Giselle. Guys, go check Gisela out. She is amazing. She has such a beautiful energy, and I hope that you guys have felt that as much as I have today. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, Boundary Boss babes. I'm super excited that you tuned in with me today. Make sure you tune in again next week as we chat about more Boundary Boss babe topics. We're going to get into so many other things about how to set boundaries with your business, how to set boundaries with your relationships, so you can truly have the time, the money, and the flexibility that you are seeking. So tune in next week. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. Let your other boss babe friends know about it. And also, if you've got any questions, make sure you submit them into the podcast by clicking on the send us a text message at the bottom of the podcast description. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. See you later, boss babes.